What's up, everybody? Good morning.
Morning.
How is everybody doing today?
Tired.
Yeah, I hear you, Mark. I hear you. You always want to get me on these morning shows.
You're starting to get to my time, my live hours now.
Yeah. All right, let's kind of get a roll call of who's in chat. Joe Morgan may be in and out. So what is up, Joe? Keto Homestead with Jess, Nebraska Prepper, Angie, and I was going to butcher her last name, Morris. I'm just going to call you Angie. T-Bolt, Kevin Grip, Julie Cleary, Muzzle Flash. Good day, brother. And folks will probably trickle in as they get the notification. Hopefully, right? You know how YouTube goes.
Yep.
All right. So we're here today. If you notice the whole premise of this Wake Up America with Rolling a Gray is the food supply and lawlessness. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because Mark had some good information yesterday and made a lot of sense and things he's talking about and resolving some of these issues. So if you want to take it, Mark, you're live.
Morning, everybody. So if you look at how this is all going to play out down the road, the scenarios that are coming out, let's go with facts first. Fact number one, food supply. Everybody's feeling it. Everybody's seeing it. Everybody's hearing about it. There's a lot of things that last year down south, we heard that they were actually taking livestock, taking them out on the fields and killing them out there because of the whole Jabberwocky, or however you want to say it, was affecting the processing of animals. Food stores are shooting their price up, and logically, we can't sustain what we have right now. So I did a little research last week, and Mr. Kissinger and the Kissinger report. If you guys want to have some very good read, the Kissinger report describes step by step about how back when that was written. I'm actually going to have to pull this up, Gray, so because I want to get the facts straight, because I did copy this.
Oh, you're good, man. I've been reading that report as well ever since you turned me on to it, and there's a lot of information that relates to what's going on in today's society, which kind of blows my mind because of when it was written. So
we know that they got to have that playbook, right? They have to have some kind of playbook that they're going to go off of, and that's what the Kissinger report's all about.
What's up, Ghost Prepper, Van Life with Gina, the Milkmaid? Let me see that. Just Exploring. Who else just popped in here? I saw a couple other names. Tiger 454. Cat in the North. Sorry, just wanted to address folks in chat.
All right. I wonder where that would be in documents or where that would be at. But
you know, what really blew my mind is your concept of what's going on in your garden. That's
well, Gray's in here. Or Gray. Yep, Gray's in here. Ghost is also in here. So if you guys have not seen that video that Ghost did, Ghost was talking about how he took the vault seeds, which was called for the Pepper's Pantry, stuff like that. You could go buy them. It started back in the 90s. It was very big when the big first scare came out, as they said that you could have this 25 plus year supply of heirloom seeds. Well, he went and tried some of his, and come to find out he only had tomatoes. Well, I started digging around, and I'm like, okay, after that I got very nervous because we had the same thing. Good to see you, Lady T. And if you guys have any questions, please put it in all caps. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and share us out, because YouTube has me in a black hole and they ain't letting me out.
Yeah, Mark's going through right now. And Demama's also Russ Williams. I saw a few other names pop up. If I missed you, I'm sorry. Angels Arrived.
Milkmaid. So as Ghost was talking about this stuff, I went and started going through my seeds. Now I have a seed vault of my own heirloom seeds. Last year we had, our garden was phenomenal. We had plants germinated. We had everything like that. We're ready to rock. I wasn't really worried. until I started doing some research, and a question was asked to me: what is in the chemtrails that are flying across, and how is that affecting our garden and our plants? Is there an inhibitor in that to stop the regrowth of our plants? Is there something in there? And I'm like, that's interesting. So then I go out and I start planting. Now I have grow lights, I have heating pads, I have the top-notch soil, all of the stuff that should make seeds pop. I know which seeds to soak, how long to soak, all of that good stuff. Ones you have to stick in the refrigerator, you have to freeze them, nick them, all that kind of stuff. So I started planting these seeds, and we had a terrible germination this season. We could not get anything to go. Finally, I had to make the point, because we weren't going to make our deadline, because also living up here in the Northwoods, we have to have plants at a decent size to put in the ground. Otherwise, we cannot harvest our plants. We had to make the decision, okay, we got to go to the greenhouses and we got to start checking and looking for seeds, because our stuff is not pop. So when I started looking, I started grabbing stuff that I could, and all of a sudden I'm like, hey, we replanted 4 different times of our seeds, our beans, which are our rattlesnakes, which are usually very good producers. 200 seeds. We got 40 seeds that actually germinated.
Yeah, that's nuts. Can anybody give us Lady T said that we were buffering. I don't see it on my end. But I just want to double check with you guys in chat if you guys want to throw us a 5x5 to make sure everything is good.
It's pouring on.
And Nebraska Prepper said, Mark, try soil blocking.
Yeah, we try a lot of different stuff. We actually have I make up some of from my compost. So I have the chickens, I have that. We have the real great compost builder. And then I'll go and I'll get some soil and some starter seed, and we mix this all together. And what I found out was some seeds that I got, like this year that I got, there were seeds that I actually got from the store that had 2021 on the package. They did not germinate. So the question comes to my mind: what's in that chemtrails? What is going on with those seeds when they're in our plants? Are they putting some kind of inhibitors in there? Is that even possible? You know, your plant grows, it has your fruit or your vegetable that's on there. Is it possible for them to come up with an inhibitor that would stop that from being able to germinate and reuse? Was what I should say. So it made it really interesting. We finally, after multiple different chimes, different seeds, different stuff, we finally got the plants that we wanted. I went from going from 7 different tomato plants. I think I'm down to 3 or 4. We're just going to go with them, and we're going to try it all over again. So there was a thing in the chat that I just saw that said, you know, do your germination tests. You know, when you dry your seeds out, what that's talking about is some seeds will float, some seeds will sink. You can do your research to find out which ones are for which. But seriously, check your seeds. When I have over 200 of bean seeds, and 90% of them are garbage, and then the ones that I do find that are good, I was about half and half. Out of the half that didn't float, out of the bean seeds, only 12 of them germinated. So I was like, this is just weird. And last year had no problem. And exactly what I was going to say, Muzzle Flash, if you go back and do your research, there was big talks about people in gardening. They wanted to tax gardens because they're losing resources. What does the big G want everybody to do? Is become dependent on them and not on our own. So when we start to grow our own stuff, when we start to do the things for ourselves and become self-efficient, they don't like that, because that's one step away from them. And Ghost will tell you, if you guys go and watch him or do anything like that, he had exactly the same problem. So it just wasn't one thing all around. And what I'm seeing around my community is there's constant people that are putting up gardens or putting up raised beds. I had this one place had beautiful lawn. This summer I drove by, they got raised beds in their front yard. They took all their property. They live in town. They took all their property and they put in raised beds. They put in gardens all over the place, or flower beds. And it's crazy how much people are starting to wake up and say, I'm not going to the store and I'm going to buy this. Because here's another story. This winter, I went down and I was having, you ever have those, you ever have them things where you just got to have something? It's like people that are on like sugar fix, they go, oh, I got to have it. Well, I had a thing where I wanted a fresh salad. All right. I had it's middle of winter time. I had my microgreens, I had this and that, but I wanted a fresh salad. So I went down to the store, and we won't name any big names, but big box store, everyone has one in their town. And I got some fresh vegetables. I had tomatoes, I had cucumbers, radishes, all the stuff to throw in a salad. Well, come to find out, my tomatoes tasted like fish and seaweed. I knew right away what was going on. And same thing with the cucumbers. They just did not have the taste like a fresh tomato out of your garden. They have it set up now. It's not about the value of the vegetable. It's how much quantity they can get out of it. Why is that so not important? Well, it's so important because we need the vitamins and minerals that come out of that plant. So if you guys watch my channel, and I'm all about herbs and benefits of the vitamins and minerals that you get out of what you grow. If we're lacking in our vitamin minerals, our immune systems go down, and this Jabberwocky and all the rest of things that they're trying to shove out down our throats will affect us big time. Okay, I'm off my soapbox now, Grey.
No, you're good, Mark. I'm trying to handle chat. We got a lot more people in chat that popped in. Also, for you folks that might because some of you guys are new to the whole Wake Up America with Grey and Mark, or Rolling in Grey. Sorry, I get it backwards all the time. I'm trying to make myself special. But
that's because I made it for my side.
Yeah. Usually, because we're going to be doing bouncing between channels. So last week we had some issues. We didn't do it. But the week before that, we were on Mark's channel. And Keto will drop Mark's channel, of course, in there a couple of times in case you guys don't know. And then the opposite week will be on my channel. Just for some of you folks, we're trying to cross-platform this show for you guys.
I just thought, Ghost, when Ghost started talking about that, I really wasn't worried because I have a whole box of heirloom seeds. I was not worried. And then I'm like, oh crap, when I started digging into it. So
yeah, living Minnesota outdoors is correct. There is no such thing as fresh in the grocery store.
Nope.
Yeah, I think sometimes. What do you think about this concept, Mark? There's a lot of farmers markets, and some of these farmers markets you can buy vegetables that is grown locally. Do you think about let's say, buying the produce there, buying a little extra produce to take the seeds from it and use that in your garden versus buying some of the other seeds that you'd find at stores?
Yeah, I think I mentioned that to you over by you guys. That's a good way of doing it. I have a big farmer's market in our town. I have actually one person that I go to that is strictly for vegetables, and they're a local Hmong community, and I know where they grow it. I've seen their fields, and I know how they work. Well, the mother barely speaks any English. The father doesn't speak English at all. And the daughter or the grandchild is the one that actually speaks to you. And their vegetables are amazing. The flavor is amazing. It is really good. So when we have bad years, we can go to our local and grab some stuff. But yeah, you're going to find that your farmers market, they're doing the same thing that we're doing. They grab the seeds that grow the best for their environment. And that's the key to this whole thing is you have to find out the things that are going to help and grow in your environment, that in your state, and the heat, the humidity, everything that you have. When you try to start to cross these seeds around, like I have some California Wonders. Well, I don't have them anymore. Grey has them now. I sent it to him because California Wonders do not like our type of weather. They will not grow here because we're not hot enough. We have a huge problem every time we try to start them. They just this cold environment that we have, because now we're up in the 80s, 70s, and 80s, and now here on Wednesday we're going to be down in the upper 40s. That's our jump. That's why I had to build a greenhouse. That's why I had to do the things that I had to do, because I know it's unpredictable for what we got. I cannot put seeds in until June 1st, or plants in the ground until June 1st. And this year, just because of how small my plants are right now. The bigger stuff I'm going to go and put out, but some of the things I'm going to wait a week or two. I mean, the peppers, they're still growing. I'm going to wait. They're going to do a lot better in that greenhouse than they are going to be out in its elements. So,
yeah, I like the way that you have that. What's up, Native and Deval? Good to see you, brother. I like how you have your hoop house per se. You know what I mean? I'd like to get into that as well. There was something I was thinking. I forgot. I saw something in chat and I got lost in chat. So now I forgot what the heck I was going to say. But speaking of which, I wanted to say something about the because I'm going to talk about it on Thursday on my late night with Grey thing, but because I'm going to do a mail call on Thursday. But Mark did send me a package of stuff, and I know James at the Nut House sent me a package that I think I should be picking up today because it was the post office was closed when I went there and I couldn't access it. But sorry, I'm trying to address something on my phone. But I did dive into. I did dive into the Dandelion Jam. I had to have a slice of toast with some Dandelion Jam on there, man.
Yeah, what do you think of that?
Phenomenal, man. I was ecstatic. I even made an extra piece of toast and gave it to the family. Like, hey, you guys got to try this, and started spreading it around. Y'all got to try this. This is great. Mark made this, or Mark. I'm assuming you made it, or you and the wife made it.
Me and Mama made it. She just finished off some lilac jam yesterday, and then she made some lilac syrup. So if you guys don't know what a lilac tree is, that real smelly, perfumey tree that grows. We have 2 of them on the property, and it makes some amazing jelly, and also it makes a good medicinal tincture. So the tincture is made, and then she finished up on the jelly yesterday. But one of the best things about springtime here is to grab that dandelion jelly and make your dandelion jelly. So what Grey is going to be doing is he wanted to try my coffee because dandelion coffee I enjoy too. There's a process of doing it, but what it is it's a great way to use the resources that you have in your area. Well, dandelions are kind of hard to find, I guess, in Florida. So until now, Wisconsin dandelions are coming to Florida.
Yeah, right. I'm looking forward to putting those seeds down and see what I get out of this because it should be pretty cool. That being said, I was going to say, currently what we have growing is exploding. Like the bok choy. The other day, I did a members only video and I showed my garden to some of the folks, kind of like a behind the scenes thing for the members, and compared to my hand size to the bok choy leaves that were on it a week ago, it's like doubled in size. It's huge how fast that thing is growing. It's massive. Does the dandelion coffee have caffeine in it? No, it does not, Native. That's the only thing it's missing. But I guess the whole motive behind it is a lot of people say that it tastes exactly or very similar to coffee. So I thought to myself, well, some people would probably freak out in a shift event who didn't have access to coffee but want that flavor. But I'm pretty sure there's other stimulants that you could probably consume or even add to that if you want.
Well, we found out a couple of weeks ago. Look at all of like your deadly nightshade family stuff. So like your tomatoes have caffeine in it, and they have nicotine in it.
Right.
Okay, so there's other things that are out there that you can add to having caffeine. One thing I found out, Native, about our bodies is that we are so stuck on caffeine in the morning. Gray's got his cup. I've got my huge cup. And our bodies are naturally, we have to have, like me, I can't even function in the morning if I don't have a cup of coffee. But he's right. What do you do in that kind of situation where we don't have that anymore? So dandelion is great because you have the medicinal properties also when you're using that root and you're roasting that root and you're making that coffee. You guys would be quite surprised at how actually good that is.
Milkmaid says the tagged comment I made up in the chat is important to note. I see a lot of people possible confusion concerning farmers market vegetable seeds at GreyMan Prepping. What did I miss?
Who's that, Milkmaid?
Milkmaid. chat's kind of rolling through. There's a bunch of folks that have joined us. We have about 57.
If you're all at the map of the new high-speed rail and the bushfires, it's an exact match. That ain't it. There it is. An important note. Okay, I'll drop it down on the bottom. You'll see it again. I found it.
All right.
And she's absolutely correct, because if you're doing with hybrid seeds, you don't know which side of that you're going to get. Heirloom seeds are going to. Do you see it where I just dropped it?
Yep, it came up now. All right.
And that's what she's talking about, is they're hybrid. So you don't know which half of that seed you're getting. That's why I like going to that one person, because I asked them, I talked to them, I said, "Are you growing heirloom seeds?" And they said yes. I get exactly the same carrots every single year. So if we run low on carrots, I can go get carrots. They have some of the best kohlrabi I've ever had in my life, and huge. Garlic. If I actually got my seeds that are now 3 years into it, I started it from their garlic. They grew garlic bulbs. They had beautiful bulbs. I bought a bunch of them, brought them home, and we planted them that fall, and we've been doing it ever since. So I used their seed for mine. So I knew his work, and I've been going to this guy going for 4 years. And so she's absolutely right. It's very important to communicate with your farmer and ask them, hey, are you using organic? Are you using heirloom? Are you using hybrid? What you're using?
Missing that. Yeah, native. That would be awesome. Maybe I'll look into that myself, brother, in regards to since my climate is warm. And I've heard of folks growing coffee down here. I don't know how much room it would take up, and I would have to do more research on that. What's up, Citizen Guardian? I saw you pop in here as well.
Yeah, so I was really kind of ticked after I seen everything that happened with us this year, and I'm changing my whole mindset, because it was like, I got to do something different.
Muzzle Flash says, "Are all seeds called non-GMO good?"
Look up the definition, Muzzle Flash. Look up the this looks like I'm making a video. Look up the definition of non-GMO. If you start to break that down, it's literally, in my eyes, impossible unless you're in a bubble to make something non-GMO, because if the water, the air, everything has to be sterile in order for that non-GMO seed to be non-GMO. It has to be genetically modified. Chemtrails are going to modify something. Water is going to modify something. When we looked into it, because I wanted to be organic, non-GMO fresh eggs, so I started doing the research on it. It went down all the way to you had to go to the corn where your pellets were made, and it's next to impossible. So the non-GMO to me was a thing just to sell stuff. To the health, oh, look at, I'm healthy, I'm eating non-GMO. Yeah, it's not genetically modified like they said, but then you start breaking it down.
You just touched on another thing, man, which I started thinking about. And I wanted the folks in chats, their opinion on this. So a lot of folks like to collect rainwater, or have rainwater catchment systems. Okay. And if you heard what Mark just said about chemtrails, now this can be controversial. It can be speculative, however you want to look at it. But if you have a rainwater catchment system and you are watering your plants with it, and there's chemtrails, throughout your region or your area, that gets absorbed into the cloud, and then gets rain. The rain absorbs it and then drops it down into your rain catchment system. How does that affect your plants? How does that affect if you happen to drink that or boil it or whatnot? That's another touchy subject, but Mark had brought that to my attention, and it kind of was like, wow, I never thought about that, because there's a lot of folks that use that for gray water.
Well, yeah, we have steel roofs. Me and Gray just did a couple of weeks back. We were talking about water storage and water availability and stuff like that. A lot of people put up water systems. If you're totally off grid, what are you doing? You're catching the rain, you're putting in a containment system, and you're using that. Well, depends on your location, and some days you can see it's beautiful sky, and then all of a sudden you'll see those trails come across. That goes in what is a cloud? What do you need, Grey?
Now, I would say Milkmaid, we will address that here in a second.
Your clouds absorb the moisture in the air, the humidity in the air. What creates is a storm, the rain. So if it's high humidity, the clouds pick it up, absorb it, and it comes back down. What's in them clouds? All the stuff that they're spraying up there. Now, if you start to go and look at the breakdown of what jet fuel, let's just go off of what jet fuel is. Okay, so when a jet engine takes off and you see the flame shoot out the back, that's raw fuel burning off the afterburners. Plain and simple. If you're a motorhead, you're going to see that too. That some of the stock cars, everything like that, they have no return fuel line. You burn it through the exhaust. So you see that back pressure. You see the flame shooting out of the fancy cars. They got igniters on the end of there, and they, there's raw fuel. The clouds absorb that.
Thank you, Grayson Grit, for the super sticker. And you will have another entry into the super chat super sticker of the month giveaway, just to throw that out there. Coffee plant. Thanks, Native, for dropping that. I appreciate that. I'm going to right click on that and save it. So Keto and Milkmaid were talking about, well, it rains on your plants regardless, right?
Correct.
So Mark had thought about that as well. He's like, well, crap, what would you do? And the only way to actually get away from it would be expensive, of course, which is, a massive greenhouse where, where the rain wouldn't get to it and you would have to water your plants with your own water or whatnot. But it's just something to ponder, something to think about. A lot of us folks are trying to grow things and be as healthy and as natural as possible. And then when I thought about that, when Mark stated it, I was like, wow, that is another way that they have an option to poison us folks. I call it poison, personally, but, to mess up the foods. And is some of that affecting the seeds for your crops the following year?
That's the point exactly. If you look at it, if you guys, everybody's seen the big gardens and if you go out to like the garden communities, like I watch a lot of the that have the wind tunnels and the hoop houses, and a lot of these guys will have little hoop houses over their greens, so their lettuces, everything like that. They got the shade blockers on them. They've got the inline sprinkler systems already hooked up, so they're watering themselves. So if you look at the major growing areas, I know places that are completely enclosed that have tomatoes shooting up and they're on strings, completely enclosed.
And Milkmaid, I'm sorry, Bark, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but Milkmaid, that would probably be a great option.
And when we started the greenhouse this year, guys, all we did, it was a very simple idea. It was fast and it had to be put up, and we needed an idea and we needed it now. So I took cattle panels or hog panels, however, which area you're in, they're a little bit different. Put them down, put some T-posts in the ground, and I took the hog panels, put them up, tied them up, and then stretched some 8 mil plastic over the top, and I took 2x4s on the bottom and squished it together. There's my greenhouse. And so far it's been really good. So
got a couple questions in chat, Mark. One, Adrian says, is it good to water your seedlings with Berkey filtered water?
If you guys want to, one of the kids they had a class, I think it was for ag class or something. They were growing some seeds. All he did was give it mineral water, and his plant did the best. He won by far. It was humongous. So there's something in that, the mineral water that you get. If Berkey takes out all of the chemicals, if it's doing that, is it also taking the minerals out? Now there's a huge rabbit hole that we can go down. And when it comes to water, there's a lot of that. Is the Berkey taking minerals that you need, the good stuff? Takes out the bad, you have the good and the bad. So if you weigh that out, you have to think about it. If it's taking out the pollutants in the water, it's also taking out the good things in the water. It can't leave one and take away the other. It's impossible.
Right, just kind of stripping the things out of it. Muzzle Flash says, does fluoride, chlorine, and whatever other substances they put into the water affect plants?
Absolutely. Chlorine is a huge one. If you take tap water and you water that plant, you'll see that thing just go. It does not like it at all. But the truth behind it and what this all boils down to, guys, is that there is so much out there that is bad for us. Okay, so there's some things that we can do to change that. But at the same time, we have to continuously look to improve ourselves. So is it possible some people will put up a greenhouse to protect the water from the rain? Absolutely, but you have to have land. If you don't have that, there's other ways like a small greenhouse. A cattle panel is 16 feet long by, I think they're 5 feet wide. It would make a really nice little greenhouse to put some specific plants in there that, like you said, you want to save the seeds. I think I saw a comment about saving the seeds for the following year. Put them in there, water them. Make sure that, but check your plants too, because some plants do not like to be in pots. Some plants are okay for pots. So it just depends on if you get indeterminate or determinate plants. Are they going to continuously grow? Things like that. The other things is when you have plants in the greenhouse, now you have a problem because who's our pollinator? Bees. Okay. If you got it enclosed in a greenhouse, your bees can't get in there to do your pollination. So like on tomatoes, you got to go, and I still do this on mine, even though they're outside, is I'll tap them and dust them and get them going. Some of the plants need that pollinator. They're going to need the bees to help them to pollinate.
Ghost is doing a test with Berkey water versus tap water versus distilled water, which is pretty interesting. I'll be looking forward to the outcome of that.
Ghost put in mineral water too, if you can find some. I couldn't find it when I went to the store the other day.
I'm trying to stay up with chat. And I had a so in regards to what you're saying as well, come to find out with watermelons, which is something you probably want to deal with, Mark, up there. But sometimes you have to take you have to self-pollinate if you don't have certain things, if you want to get the best pollination out there. The one gardener I was watching was using a Q-tip, but someone also had stated, I think my wife stated she could use a small paintbrush to take it from the male to the female or whatnot.
You can take ear cleaners too.
Ear cleaners, yeah, that's a good one.
We have to do that sometimes with the apple trees, especially because up here the bees are, guys, I hate to tell you this, and number one, honey is great for you. If you can find honey that is local, it's the best for you. And bees are very important, not only because they build the honey, they do the pollination. There's so many things that bees are good for. And people are saying, well, the bees are dying off. The bees are dying off. Why? Let me put one thought in your brain. Who in their right mind would bring in a killer bee that kills our population of our bees and does their stuff like that? Who would do that? And why would they do that? So the African killer bee that was supposedly an oops that came and it actually generally just started coming north? Come on. If you look down in Arizona right now, there's a huge influx of killer bees, and they're taking over. There's actually, I watched a guy, Gray, that goes in there and takes him, and he takes the honey from him, and he's got a moon suit on, and they still get attacked.
And I just want to say we have 74 people in chat. I want to really say thank you all for joining us this morning. Truly appreciated you guys joining us this morning. And one last thing I want to throw in there. I should probably say this to the end, but I'll just throw it in there now. So I think we have 77 now in chat. So if you guys can, go ahead and smash that like button. We always want to break the YouTube algorithm because they like to suppress us, even if we're talking about gardening. I remember Mark said that one of his gardening videos got limited or whatnot or something like that. And it was just about gardening. Also, I will be going live again this evening at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Van Life with Gina. If you guys want to join me this evening, I will be interviewing her as well.
They do that because they don't, you guys are great because, if you go over to my side and you'll see the numbers ain't matching because they don't want this information out. They don't want people to be self-efficient. They don't want people to do that. They want people to be stifled. They want people that actually are willing to learn things. They don't want that stuff coming out there. They want you to go to the grocery store. They want you to struggle. They want you to do that because that's the American way.
Agreed. Tiger 454 loves bees, but they are not the only pollinators. And yes, you're correct. Well, some of my pollinators that I have in my garden right now are ants. Ants make good pollinators as well.
The bugs are in general are great pollinators. But for us, like bees, there's some of the flies that are pollinators. We have what we call hummingbird moths. I have that on my last video. I think I show you guys hummingbird moth, which he's really cool. So I seen Native just said something about the hoop houses.
Yeah, I think he was talking to someone else. But Native, do you use the cattle panels as well for your hoop houses on your property? Whenever you get a chance, Native, you can answer that. And living Minnesota outdoors, you are correct. They
Absolutely.
That's the whole premise behind this thing is they want you dependent on the government, on their food, on their products, and so on and so forth. And they hate seeing folks that are self-sufficient.
Best thing I can tell you guys, if you get those stimulus checks, okay, when the STHF situation or the banks fall, that money's worthless. So the best thing that you can do with them stimulus checks, if you can, is pay your bills off, get out of debt, whatever means necessary. That's what you should use that money for. And that's not what they want you to do. They want you to go buy a 36 or I shouldn't say 36, a 62-inch big screen TV. They want you to have more stuff because what does a TV do? It keeps you on the couch, keeps you less active. And if we're not active, we're not healthy.
So Native does use the cattle panels like you do, Mark. And
yeah. They are the, cattle panels are great. I've got everything going up. Everything that I can, it keeps it off the ground for number one. It is a great way to get them aerated because like tomatoes, my tomato plants are anywhere from 5 to 8 feet tall. So it depends on how the season actually goes. And that's what we do is everything I can, my cucumbers, my tomatoes, my green beans, anything that's on a vine that can withstand and hold. And trust me, the vine is designed to do that, to hold its fruit or vegetables or however you want to say it. I put it in the air.
SJ, you make a good point. I was reading an article about cicadas this year, and I wish I had it here in front of me so I could use it for as a resource. But they said that this cicada that's evolving this year has been dormant for quite some time, and it's going to be an influx into our environment this year.
So look at the locust. So not getting biblical or anything, but if you remember the one of the things that Moses put out there is he went in the locust devastated Egypt, just destroyed their crops. You have other places in other areas that had the same thing with locusts. They come through. The only thing that a locust won't eat is the neem tree, which comes the neem oil. That's how neem oil was actually found, is because when the locusts came through and devastated everything and ate everything, that was the only tree they didn't touch at all. So that's how they found out, you guys, for that are organic gardeners and use neem oil. That's where the neem oil came from. It was actually a mistake.
That's very smart, Northwoods. And that's what I suggest to folks do. If you want to have, instead of having just straight up ornamentals for your garden, there's a lot of plants that you can use that look great, that look pretty, but are also multifaceted where you can use it for medicinal or edible.
Exactly. That's the kind of thinking that I like to see, because if it's growing on my property and I can't eat it, it ain't worth being here. If it isn't medicinal or used to it, it ain't here.
Muzzle Flash, you are correct. I read that report about a month ago, and the person behind that, I don't want to say, but the person that created Microsoft back in the 80s, he was behind that modification of those mosquitoes and released them. He was behind that whole situation.
Oh, just made a newbie move. Hit the button. Milkmaid preach, Mark. Yeah, the thing that you guys got to understand is if you grow it on your land, some things, like I see these beautiful landscapes and I'm thinking to myself, hey, that looks really nice. And I won't, fine. But what's the purpose of it? To look nice. What does Johnny down the road have? That to me is just, if I can't eat it, it's gone.
Angels Arrived said, what do you think about praying mantua? Is that like a praying mantis or something? Maybe I'm not familiar with the term. And Milkmaid, you are correct. That is pure evil.
Actually, Nebraska Prepper, we put in, I found some nice sweet potatoes. So we got sweet potatoes in the ground. We have some what I call Yukon Gold. Other people call them different. They're potato chips, something like that. French fries, what your French fries are made out of. I actually have them growing in the gardens this year. So we're going to have our own fight when it comes to the potato bugs because we don't use anything for spray. All our stuff is naturally. So I'm going to have to use neem oil or some other means to keep the bugs down.
Okay. Angels Arrived did say the praying mantis.
Yep.
I've never seen them in my current garden. Do you guys have them up there in your area, Mark?
Yeah, that's kind of a tropical bug, I think. We have June bugs that'll hit you and you'll leave a mark, but that's about it.
Yeah, those June bugs are beasts. They're a monster.
Oh
man! And thanks, Keto and Milkmaid, for telling folks to smash that like button. I truly appreciate it.
Share this out. The more that we get in here to help grow our community, not just us, you guys, you too, is great to get this information out because it's all learning. I don't know everything. I'll tell you that up front. I learn a lot of my stuff. I read a lot of books, and I trial and error. So this is how you guys are going to get that information out. The more that we grow, the more that you guys grow. I tell you that all the time.
I guess Northwoods, she has praying mantis in northern Wisconsin.
I'll have to go look at that because I've never seen one. But if I do, I'll find it.
Oh, so Tiger 454 says they are beneficial bugs.
Cool.
African horned cucumbers. That's awesome, Muzzle. Muzzle Flash, you're in Australia, correct? If I remember correctly. And Keto said they have praying mantis, and I'm pretty sure there are a lot more places than they are. I just haven't seen them around here lately. I'm pretty sure they do exist in my area. They're probably all over the place in different versions of them. There's different species of the praying mantis.
Life with Bobby. I recently got 3 books of herbs and medicinal uses of herbs and plants. That is great. I got tagged in a thing from Jess there from Keto Homestead about my 3 favorite books. And this guy sitting next to me over here is one of the guys I'll be tagging because if you guys haven't watched, we do a lot of things with books. And I have tons and tons of herb and medicinal books.
I'm just trying to make sure I'm not missing anything. No Stranger says, what can I use that is natural to lower soil and pH? Or lower the pH in the soil. There we go. Lime.
If you have high pH and you want to bring your pH down, is lime.
Muzzle, when I think about it, next time I see you in chat, I know my wife watches this gentleman at grows. He grows everything in Australia. He has a huge garden. Everywhere you look, there's plants and he has like vegetables and fruit trees and all kinds of stuff like that. I'll have to see that. I don't know if that would benefit you, being that you're in the same area as him or in the same continent per se.
It's all about the soil. You guys, if you want to grow a plant and you want to grow vegetables, the first thing, so if you grow something, the first thing that we need to do is what? We need to grow our soil. We need to put the amendments in there and build our soil up because that is the first and foremost important thing in gardening is your soil. So once you get your soil correct and right to grow, anything will grow in there. It's just we have a hard time because some plants take things out. Tomatoes are huge calcium burners. They will suck you dry out of calcium. But once you figure the stuff out what your plant needs and how to amend that soil every year and build that soil up, it'll be just like your plants.
D14 Jabs. There's a gentleman that I watch on YouTube that runs a wild garden, and I was pretty impressed with that as well. And where was it? Muzzle Flash. That's kind of cool. You should go visit him and tell him to jump on GreyMan's channel. I'd like to interview someone like that. My wife loves his skills at growing, but pretty awesome stuff for Australia.
It's hard too because you think about it. Every muzzle flashies in Australia, totally different climate than what we're used to. You in Florida, totally different climate than what I'm used to.
Right.
So this is what I'm saying about when we share each other out and we grow together, we're learning how to do things in a different way. That is really cool.
I can add, where was it? I saw something. Moon sprouts. Hello from Texas. How can I add trace minerals back into the soil?
You can do that with your composting. What I do is I save my ash through the winter, and I will take everything that we burn. You clean out your fireplace, your wood stove, whatever else, whatever ash is in there, I put it into cans and I save it. In the springtime, I go and I put that in the garden. I also take oyster shells. Anybody that has chickens has to have some kind of calcium for their chickens. Oyster shells is a good way to do that. I also use that to amend my garden. I will take them, and it's very inexpensive compared to if you look at putting liquid calcium on the ground. It's a great way. It's not as fast because it takes a while for that to break down, but it's a great way to add calcium. If you want instant calcium, go buy milk and dump milk in the ground. And then that's another great way. Your minerals, there's another good one is there is the volcanic ash. If you look when Mount St. Helens blew, covered the ground with ash, nothing grew for however many years I was out there. And all of a sudden stuff was flourishing. It was huge. People were saying it was like radioactive because the stuff was just like morphed into bigger sizes. They found out throughout the years is that pumice and that stuff that comes out after the fact of a volcano eruption is great for amendments on the soil. It puts some minerals back in the ground. So you can buy that stuff. Worm castings is another great one to do. I would have to go and refill.
You did take your time. I'm here. I can talk. I can talk. Karen Tamir, crush Tums and dissolve into water. Use when watering instant calcium. That's pretty smart. I never thought about that as well. And this is what I like. Okay, so the community, our community, be it gardening, be it bushcrafting, be it prepping, how it all resounds with each other. Now, I've been thinking of a way. A lot of folks, who are just starting out in YouTube or even some of the larger channels that I've been talking with, just imagine this. We're trying to grow our community. We're trying to grow our channels to get this message out. And just imagine if you ever came across your favorite channel or even a specific video that intrigued you, right? And you have the option of putting it on, let's say, your community tab. When you put something on your community tab in reference to another creator, you can put the @ symbol and then start typing their name and it'll pop up and it'll notify them. And then they can go and see that you had shared their information, which then maybe they'll share something of yours. And as we keep on sharing things back and forth, as creators, or something like that we can start, help building each other up. I just noticed that I don't see a lot of folks doing too much of that. So it just happened to pop in my head that would be an idea because, like, I don't know if Mark got the notification or, like, say Van Life with Gina, when I did their the streams for this evening, I tagged them inside my description to give them notification. But I also found out you can do that in your community tab. Especially if you find one of their videos extremely important. You don't even have to tag their channel if you don't want to, but you can share that video. And like I tell other folks, I've had a lot of folks share me out on their, and some people don't have these, and I understand before I say the names, but I'm going to say the names now. Twitter, Facebook, MeWe, whatever platforms you have, Reddit, Instagram. Some folks will share out other channels on that as well. So I think that's kind of cool. Anything to get exposure to our community, to bring more folks in, because as we build this knowledge base, I think it's kind of cool because everybody has a take in how, like Mark up in Wisconsin, I'm down here in Florida. We both bring us something to the table in regards to our environments and the types of plants that we can grow and our mindsets. So I think it helps with everybody.
I got a Ghost. You're absolutely right. There is actually stuff out there that's called bone meal, and it is a annulment for the soil. So I'm interested in seeing how that works for you. Because I know they say the old theory about not putting meat products or anything like that, protein in your compost bins. But I do see that and it's very expensive, believe it or not, Grey. It's a huge expense to put bone meal in your garden. But yeah, that's the thing, guys, is that I'm in a black, I call it a black hole or YouTube jail or something, because it's just, they're trying to shut me up.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'll tell you guys a quick issue with me. Every single day for about a week or a week and a half, my subscriber base would jump from negative, not a negative, but it would be like, let's say it would go up 100, and then the next day it would go down 100. Then the next day it would go up 80, and then go down 80. And it was doing it for a good solid week and a half. Now I noticed the last couple of days it's stuck. I don't know what changed, if YouTube stopped, stopped wanting to mess with me personally. But I notice this happens every month or so with YouTube. They will do some weird stuff to the channel. So keep an eye on your stuff if you're a content creator. Also, if you're a subscriber and you haven't seen a video from someone in quite some time, go check their channel out. YouTube may have purged you, maybe because you didn't watch enough of their content. Maybe you didn't comment enough. Maybe you didn't like their videos, whatever the case may be.
Or they're just being buttheads, like the day that we found out you weren't subscribed to me, and you subscribed to me in front of me and it took it out. So trust me, guys, there's a lot of things is that too. If you're not been about that. So this all came about. We were working one night behind the scenes, and we were on Grey's channel, and I go, hey, check this out on mine. What do you see? Is you find out Grey wasn't subscribed. He's like, that's a bunch of BS, because the cat knocked something over. He's like, that's crazy, because that should have never happened. So he physically hit the subscribe and the bell and refreshed, and it was out again. And he's like, did you see that? I said, absolutely. He did it again, and exactly the same thing happened again. It was the third time is when it finally stuck. So when you guys think that you are subscribed to somebody, or you're really interested in what they're doing, go and check it out, because I've seen some very funny things that have been going on YouTube.
Where was it at? Alan, you make a good point. Can YouTube videos be downloaded to a device? Now, I could address that. If you have YouTube Premium or YouTube Red or whatever they call it now, they will let you download that, and you can watch those videos offline, which might be very beneficial to some of you folks in regards to building a library of important information from content creators that you watch. Now, there's another way to do that as well, but I can't really discuss it here on YouTube, so you can email me because they will get upset.
Do you just see what Ghost just said?
Where's Ghost at?
On the very bottom down there. He says, I've been unsubscribed to you twice in the last 3 weeks. Now, I know Ghost personally. I've been behind the scenes with Ghost, and I know that he's a subscriber to my channel, and he's a subscriber to. So this is what's going on, guys. So that's what I'm saying, is that YouTube is trying. I'm not doing anything against YouTube law. I'm just teaching people how to garden and think outside the box. They don't like that. So what do? Is I'm even on my watch hours on videos that it's like, Grey will see that. He's like, I can't believe that's all that is. People watch that. They will hide them in the back deck and trust me, I know how to set the tags up. I know how to do the verbiage. I know how to use AdSense. I know how to do all that stuff. But YouTube is, I resubscribed yesterday. YouTube is doing things so crooked because who owns YouTube? Google. Who owns Google? Okay, so start following that rabbit hole. Ginger Ninja, good to see you. And guys, if you do go to my channel and you leave a comment, I will come back. And it's like Ghost theory, my theory, however you want to say that. If you subscribe to my channel, I'm going to subscribe back to yours. And if you're just a supporter and not a creator, that's great too. We like them too.
Yeah, Milkmaid. I've noticed that as well. So I've been trying to, if I don't see, I know certain content creators have schedules. Like me, I run Sunday through Thursday. I have content every day, 5 days a week. So if you're not seeing something from me, at least through those days, something's up. But I know, let's say Native's in chat. Native has a specific content, like with his daily rants and things like that. So if you don't see something specific from a content creator you follow, and all of a sudden you don't see nothing for a few days, go check to make sure that you are still sub to them. And check the bell notifications and stuff like that. The best way to do it, honestly, folks, is to be extremely interactive. If someone posts a video, and I know it takes time because the video that I posted yesterday, I hearted everything, but I have not interacted with my subscribers because I was so busy doing a bunch of other stuff. But you as a subscriber, if you interact, just drop a comment, say good video or thanks for sharing. That shows interaction on your part, and YouTube is more reluctant to pull you out of that scenario.
Thing is too, is what is coming up here, guys, is I'm going to be switching my schedule around. I obviously, if you haven't known it, and people that know me, is I'm on 10 hours all the time. Now they're talking about us going to 410s and then having Friday off. So I'm going to be switching my live streams to more of the morning aspect, and then Friday I might do a Friday night live or something like that. But I have to switch my stuff around from the late night to more of the morning things because of my work schedule. So
right on, Milkmaid. But yeah, these are just things that we have learned as creators that help keep things going and stuff like that. Things that you can do to, I guess, stay informed and watch the content without. So because some people have told me that they're like, "Hey, Grey, did you stop making videos?" And I'm like, "No, what are you talking about? I'm here almost 5 days a week." And they're like, and then I said, "Go check your subscription," because they'll email me, and then they check it out and they're like, "Wow, I was unsubbed." So
the other thing too is if you look at it, okay, just do the math on this. We'll make this really easy. There's 76 people in this room right now. If all 76 went to subscribe to every single channel that's in this chat room, and those 76, just think how fast that's going to multiply.
It's the domino effect. A lot of folks have done it. You know what I mean? That's what I try to gain from the interviews that I do on Tuesdays or today in the evening times, channels that I showcase, that I bring on. I try to, share their information out. From the interview, you can kind of grasp some information about the person, their mindset, and things that they do and what they specialize in. And then you can decide for yourself if you want to subscribe to that person. Because some people, like, I get it, some people, I don't want to subscribe to, 1,000 channels and get 70 million notifications and then get drowned out. But you can set your notifications in a certain manner that what's more important to you will get popped up. Yep. But, it's just, that's the name of the game. Notifications that, my phone is constantly making noise because I'm a content creator and I have all kinds of social media accounts plus my own life. So my phone is just kind of ding, 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 ding all day, which drives me nuts, but I do silence it during certain times. Like now it's quiet, because I knew I was going to do it live. But like I said, there might be something that Mark may do, or I may do, or let's say Native or Milkmaid or whoever has a channel on here that might be super important, that might be relative to either, let's say, gardening or something in the media that might just pop that you need to be aware of, or anything, and you may miss that. So if you use YouTube or YouTube as your main media source, then that might be an option for you, because a lot of people that I talk to say they don't watch mainstream media anymore. So
they don't. I can't remember last time. Oh yeah, I remember, not mainstream media, but last weekend I sat down and watched a movie with Hunter. So first time in months.
Justice Junkie. That's hilarious. Have a good day, Cheryl. Thanks for joining us this morning. We usually only go about an hour, so we're almost done here, because Mark does have to go and work a 10-hour shift here soon. But I will be back on. I'll be back on tonight with Van Life with Gina at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It should be on my channel, and I'm also going to put something in the community tab as well.
We always load up our community tabs.
Yeah, Stuart W. Where is it at? Let me pop that up on the screen. It's a lot of work being an active subscriber to all of y'all awesome creators. Yeah, man. Mark, have you ever done this? I was trying to figure out how many hours a week that I put into my YouTube, doing the research, creating the videos, filming, and all that stuff like that. Right now, I'm about 30 to 35 hours a week that I've been putting into YouTube, which is almost full time, in the real world.
If you start putting in how much time you do editing and how long you take for shooting videos, and then the rendering side of things, I figured it out to be a job and a half on top of my normal job, which I work 10 hours a day on. So it's a crazy thing to do. It's a lot of times we have things. I got a schedule, but as soon as my job comes up, what pays the bills, you got to go with that, So we had a schedule all set up to go, and because of my work, it kind of flushed my YouTube thing down a drain for a little while. So we are going to be coming back up. There's a lot of great videos out there that I have that people haven't even seen, like the juicing videos, cancer fighting juicing videos. There's so many different things that are on my channel. I can't believe I'm saying this, but we need a YouTube union native.
I don't know how this is going to affect YouTube or me personally, but my governor here in Florida, DeSantis, just passed legislation. If anybody who is suppressed by any social media platform, we as a person can actually sue them now.
I read that last night. See, that's the one thing that he's lucky, is because he's got a governor that sticks up for the people. Most people don't have that. Most of them are yellow bellies, and which just blows my mind, because we elect them to go and do the job for us. And as soon as they get in there, something takes their mind, pulls it out of their head, and then they stick this snowflake concept in there. And it just irritates the crap out of me. And then as soon as you get a good one in there, they run them off. And if somebody wants to do something and do it correctly, they hush them up. How many times, Grey, have I told you that I am shocked about what your governor's capable of doing, and I'm wondering how many death threats he gets in a day.
I can imagine.
Because most people aren't like that.
So Phoenix, what I've been doing is sometimes I will miss folks' lives, either because I'm doing my own live or my own content, or I'm busy, or sometimes I'll double dip as well. Even when I'm doing a live, I'll have that running just to support the channel. But when I do have some off time and stuff like that, I will watch the content and rewatch it, especially if it has an intriguing, conversation that I want to follow. Also, if you want to support someone, sometimes this is how folks supported me early on in my YouTube days, which was not too long ago, which was in December. I only been on YouTube since December, but they watch the playlist. They'll let the playlist run just to support the creator as well. So there's things that you can do out there beyond, being busy or whatnot. Some folks have told me that they'll watch my video while they're doing dishes. They won't actually physically watch, but they'll be listening.
One thing too, guys, is you can help support us. Everybody become a member of the channel. That helps to support us too. So there's other ways that you can do things to break the YouTube, jail, whatever you want to call it. I got to be nice. It's probably why I'm in jail.
Yeah, no, it's like, it sucks because you have to tiptoe around things.
Like I said before, we're not the land of the free anymore. You're the home of the brave, but you're not land of the free, because we are stifled. We can't say what we want to say. Now, if you look at other countries, where does that come from? So if you guys haven't listened or haven't been watching or what's been going on, the whole Wuhan, or however you say that, Grey, where the old C showed up and some laboratory, it's all over the news now, because it's finally out that was in a bio environment. Okay, without getting Grey in trouble. So these people have been hushed up. Some of them had extreme death threats. The scientist that blew the whistle the first time, she was ran out of the country.
Yep, I remember that. And now it is all over the news. What did you guys think? Not to take a turn from what we're talking about, but we're kind of towards the end of it. We had our discussion in regards to the topic, mostly.
No, we didn't do the lawlessness yet. I got to do that.
Yeah, we didn't do the lawless. We'll touch on that real quick. But what was I going to say? Project Veritas dropped a huge thing yesterday in regards to Facebook, which was quite interesting. So you guys should check that out. You can find it all over the place. But it was just some interesting stuff. I'm not going to talk about it too much here because It's, I'm assuming YouTube doesn't like it. But go ahead, Marco, if you want to bring up that lawlessness topic there.
All right, guys. So there's three things that you can think about lawlessness. Okay, so I heard that they're now looking at, if you're a shoplifter, you can steal up to $900 before they're going to prosecute you. So literally, you can go fill up your shopping cart every day. Not saying this is true. Like I said, I heard that this is in one of the works, is that's coming up. So me and Grey were talking yesterday about our men in blue that are out there that actually protect us. And actually there are, everybody says that there's the dirty cops and this and that. There might be one in that whole basket. So if you look at a bushel of apples, you got one bad apple, the whole rest of them are bad. You throw the whole rest of the apples out because you got one bad one, or you just wash them off and throw the bad one out and you're good to go, right? But if you guys start looking around in different areas and watch where this stuff is happening, you're seeing that the police force is dwindling so bad. They're losing hundreds of police officers on a daily basis. Like Grey said, he had 25 in his area that just came up through the ranks and now they're part of a department. But how many did in his area is decent, but in how many others are lost? Even in our small towns here, they cannot find people that want to do this anymore. And why would you? Because you're getting terrorized. You can't defend yourself. You come into a situation. Now, it's not like as a military man, when we go into a situation, we have 6 or a whole platoon behind us to watch our back. When an officer comes up to that car, number one, he doesn't know what you have on the inside. Give the guy a break. He doesn't know if you have a gun loaded. Give the guy a break. 90% of people nowadays are concealed carry or have some kind of weapon on them. So they're coming in there by themselves. In our small town, if you have 12 police officers running around in the area here, and that's in the county and in town, if they get a traffic stop, they're by themselves. That's a loaded situation. Now you start to put that in perspective. These guys are working 12, 16 hours, double shifts. Their stress level is already through the roof. They're tired and everything else. So you just added to that situation. So when these problems start up that you see in other areas, our police force is dwindling. What does that do for the people that are actually the bad guys? Gives them an opportunity. All right. So let's look at lawlessness as preppers. Everybody that I know that I talk to has this mindset. If somebody comes onto my property, me and Grey talked about this yesterday. Somebody comes onto my property, I'm going to fill them full of lead. Well, there's 2 problems with that concept. Number one is if lawlessness comes into effect, capital punishment, and that if you kill somebody, no matter when law comes back into effect, you're going to get penalized and you're going to get what you got coming. All right. So think about that. Now, if they come in your house or if they attack your family, that's a different thing. We were talking about the castle law yesterday, and you have to know your laws and how you look at things in your area. But just remember that the less protection that we have out there right now means the more the bad guys. Look at how New York right now, they're up on murder. Chicago, up on murders, up on rape, all this other stuff because of the fact the police can't do what they are hired to do. Plain and simple.
And I can give you a firsthand thing on this. So my partner was I think he was a sheriff for about 26 years, 26, 27 years. And he said doing a stop, just, stopping a vehicle for whatever the case may be. He said that is one of the most riskiest things because you just don't know who is behind that wheel, who is in that vehicle, if there's others in that vehicle, what's going on in their mind. He says it's just one of the most riskiest things that they do. And think that's the most common thing that officers do is, drive around, and it sucks. Yeah, I understand getting a ticket sucks, but when I'm driving 50 in a 45 or 50 in a 40, I expect that if I do get pulled over, it's my own fault.
Not only that, you could say, hey, guess what? Thanks. And the cops can look at you for what? For saving my life. And they're going to go, what do you mean? I was speeding. What's the chances of I hitting somebody else because I wasn't paying attention? Because what are you doing if you're speeding? You're in a hurry. You're
Right.
late for something. You're not watching what's going on. You're not being proactive. Okay. So the next time you get a ticket, just tell the cop thanks. And you might get away without just a warning. And then explain to them why you're saying thanks. Not just because you're being some smart ass, because I'll tell you what, then they will give you a ticket. But the other thing that got me really interested, because I used to work road construction, and I used to have them cars flying past me at 90 miles an hour when I'm working on the road. And you want to talk about ticked off, even on an ambulance, when I was on an ambulance crew and you got the lights going and you got everything else and they don't move over. They just, well, I watched a video with a state patrol officer that had he come over and he had his car out. The other guy pulled over. He had his car sitting here trying to protect him. And he came out and opened a door, and a car took the door off, and an officer went flying over the top of the hood. There are people out there that are literally just, oh, look at that.
You know, Susie D, yeah, a lot of folks want to do that. A lot of folks are tired of what's going on, depending on what state you live in. You know, like I said, I'm blessed to be in Florida currently with a solid, we call it the trifecta. And what I mean by the trifecta is, you know, our governor is a Republican. Our Senate and House are run by the Republicans, and a lot of the only place that we're really blue in Florida is like every place: Miami, Florida, Orlando, Florida. These major metropolitans where these folks try to take as much advantage of the people that are not. How do I say this? That are easily swayed. I don't want to say something that I'll regret.
Milkmaid, to answer that question, she says anarchy is the meanest, baddest people tend to win. Just saying. And there's also a saying is that good always prosper over evil. And you always are going to have, you can't have dark without light. You can't have light without dark. You can't have good without evil. It's a balance. But if we look at the things that the people that are out there to support us and protect us, when lawlessness starts, what's the other side of that? Is martial law. And that's something that nobody wants to be in, because then you're bringing in the military. And we're not talking about the National Guard or nothing like that. We're talking about hard servicemen that have time overseas. They have wartime. They have something like that. And if we don't want those people to police us, because they have a totally different mindset, they have a totally different training, and you don't want that in your community. Just like when I first saw, and Grey saw this, the first time I saw a bearcat on the U.S. soil, I said, that machine does not belong here. It was not made for our environment, because you know what that thing's capable of doing.
Right. I've been trying to see things in chats, and muzzle flash. Yeah, it probably different in Australia. And there's corruption everywhere. There's corruption in government. There's corruption in local police departments and things like that. But there's, like, anywhere you look, there's possible corruption. But,
yeah, you're absolutely right. You don't want them in here either.
Yeah, the blue hats, you definitely don't want those folks in here.
And look at what they did. The UN changed their color to red. Who else has red?
Right, and that's what blew my mind too, man. I put those two pieces together too, and I'm like, maybe they're getting too much exposure with the blue, but then when it went to red, I was like, okay, well, the most people with the reds are, you know, two of the largest countries that are against us pretty much.
Yep. You don't, that's the thing that you guys do not want that stuff in here. You know, and that's coming from I'm a military guy. You don't want to have that in here, because the mindset there, and I've talked to a lot of police officers, I've talked to a lot of military guys, and they say that they're not going to turn on their country. They're not going to do that. But that's not the mindset of the new generation. That's the problem.
It definitely is. And that's what it is the indoctrination of the children. That's why they're trying to change future generations from thinking the way that most folks do now.
Yeah, that's what the administration wants. You're absolutely correct. So when you think about that, guys, the next time you see a cop, tell them thanks. So appreciate it. Say, thank you for your service. You know, it doesn't fall just for us vets and us military guys. Josh.
Oh boy, Josh.
You need to get some sleep.
Thanks for the super chat, man. I really appreciate that. And yes, Josh, you will be entered in the giveaway. Maybe we get lucky. Maybe you'll beat Monty this time, Josh.
Yeah. So, guys, if you look at it, lawlessness, and if we look at what our community is doing, your best bet is look in your community, see how things are working in your community. If it's a strong community base, you're going to have less of that. But if you have the things like going on in Minnesota or in other areas, look at the murder, the rape, theft, and look at the dwindling numbers of police officers and the support that they're doing. When they're pulling millions of dollars out of supporting the police officers, they can't get more. That means those guys are on longer hours. Monty's going to have a war now. So
thanks, Monty, for the super chat, Monty. Appreciate it.
Look at the numbers. Look how it all comes. So if let's say we got 25 cops, you have 50 bad guys. The numbers aren't matching, and you're going to have more people. And then when you have people trying to stifle them and say, do this and do that. Let me ask you this question, Gray. If you're going down the road and you and your wife are walking in the park and all of a sudden some guy jumps you, are you going to defend yourself?
For sure.
Or then it gets to the point where that man pulls a gun or a knife, then what?
Well, then I'm in threat for my life, so I have to defend myself in a manner of deadly force.
Right? And what do the police officers do every time they go onto a scene?
Bingo. That's why I think it's a bunch of hodgepodge. MAGA Lady said, what are your thoughts about the pending divide in the military? Is it real or fake news? Well, I still have a lot of friends that are in the military. Roger that. I have a lot of friends that are in the military, and they are seeing a changing tide of things. But if you notice, certain generals follow a certain way. Unfortunately, it seems like the military, which it should never be, some of it is being politicized. If you watch certain generals go one way and other generals go another way, there's a lot of things to be answered. Also, the way that they're instituting new policies that are, how do I say it? That it just don't make any sense. When Mark was in, if you were told to do something and you had specific tasks, you couldn't say, you can't pull up a card and say, I need to take a break because my shoulder hurts. So I need to go sit out for 15 minutes. That didn't happen. Now, I'm not saying that's exactly what's going on in the military, but some of the folks I've told that I've talked to, matter of fact, someone who just went through basic, he's actually stationed in North Carolina right now. He has a tattoo across his arm that says "We the People," and they ask him sometimes to cover it up at certain instances. And he is in the military on base.
Zani is throwing up there. You gotta, look at this, guys, too. So
thank you, Zani, for that.
If you remember the Vietnam era, when them guys came back, they got spit on. They were called rapists, murderers, children murderers, everything else. Now, if you understand what happened over there's Dragon. Cops have a huge problem now because they do not follow the constitutional oath of office and are enforcing unconditional laws. That's true.
Thank you, Mrs. Monty, for the super chat. Yeah, you never know. She may beat them both. That would be pretty intriguing.
So if we could look at the Vietnam era, you would never see that now. So when a vet comes back, you have these things. But back in the day, they came off the plane, they were getting spit on, they were getting yelled at, they were getting cussed at, it's calling worthless. Now it's not the same way. It flip-flopped. Now our police department are the ones that are getting cussed at, spit on, and everything else. Like, now, granted, you got to understand, this is a stressful environment. This is a very high tense stress environment. So as a human being, if you're in a grocery store and somebody spit on you, are you going to say thank you and walk away? Now, granted, the badge doesn't block human morals and everything else. You still have to be decent. And like I said in the beginning of this conversation, there are some bad apples out there. But every single one of us, I will, without a doubt, say, if somebody came up to me and spit in my face, I'd have a huge issue. And I don't need to have a badge to stand behind it. I would have a problem. And it would take a lot of my strength to not do something. So remember that. I mean, we all are human. They're human is what we are. Just because they wear a blue uniform and they got a badge on doesn't mean they're superheroes and they're Superman. They are human and they have bad. Everybody has a bad day. When you are out there, you got to run at 100%. You got to have your head on a swivel, and you're trying to be kind. You don't know what the last call that guy was on. That last call that cop could have been on was a baby died because something unfortunate happened.
Thank you, Dragon, for the super chat. And you're right. Maybe Jess will win.
Yeah, Susie, spit on me and I'll punch you in the throat. Yeah. Just think of that. Yep. Patricia, I know. You know, people don't give the respect where the respect is due. If somebody, like I said, if there's a dirty cop, the police force, his people, no, there's a bunch of vets in here. Gray, what happened if we found out somebody when we were in the military and they found out he was lazy or they were dirty or not pulling their weight? What happened? They got weeded out.
Yeah, easily.
So, you know, you got to look at that too. Is the police department will, if they have the good ones, will weed out the bad ones on their own. So you just got to give it a time. A lot of people want things now. We got to have it because we're impatient. Got to have that stuff now. I want this taken care of. Doesn't work that way.
Yeah,
great. Good to see you, buddy.
It's really weird what's going on in our military this day and age. To be honest with you, all the things that I hear, and I do have some solid contacts, some that I could never mention.
Yep. I mean, there's a lot of there's people that I talk to that absolutely, if I would disclose what they tell me, I wouldn't get that information anymore. The other thing too, before we get out of here, I was talking about it a couple days ago. Please be aware of July 9th. There's supposed to be another CME that is supposed to happen. If you guys didn't recognize the last one hit us, and their mathematical equation was a little off. So without saying anything more about it, it's coming on July 9th. So that was one of the intel things that I did get, was be prepared. The other thing that I thought was really interesting, what did he say? Yeah, but at least ask you this: a military member gets fired, he can no longer rejoin, but a cop gets fired and he or she just can get rehired at a different department. Very true.
That's when it comes to the federal government in general, you know what I mean? And like I said, you would not think that the military would ever be politicized, and how it's getting now.
No, us veterans, if there's a bad apple or somebody won't pull their own weight, they're gone. Listen while I'm working in a garden. That's what I should be doing, but it's raining, windy, and nasty.
Yeah, no, Dragon, I agree there. If there's misconduct, that should be they should be held accountable for that.
That's a policy change, though. That should be at a federal level, where it says if you are fired from a police department for misconduct, you can know. It's like a teacher. If a teacher goes in and he gets it for sexual harassment or gets a felony for sexual abuse, he can never become a teacher again.
Like Mark said, it's with any job. Would you want a doctor that's been reprimanded for malpractice to go to another state and become a doctor? I mean, there should be some sort of,
instead of punishing the whole group, if they would use common sense logic, which most Democrats, Republicans, anything that you want to say it, politicians, let's just say, if they would put common sense in there and say, listen, if you are at this point and you do this, you not only will lose your job, but you'll never be able to get your job again in that kind of field. That would be the thing.
Wow, it's 90 degrees in Ohio bushcraft. Wow, that is intense. Yeah, I can see that. Like I said, no matter how you look at it, man, there's always going to be bad seeds in every job, every aspect of life.
And same thing with the milkmaid. I've actually had people that got sexual misconduct and were felony, and they had exactly the same thing. Was totally the laws that are set up are not there. Right, they're not even Steven. There's some certain can't speak again. Must be filming. There's situations where yes, that is not as what you're stating there. That would not be cause. But somebody goes and is a bully or a brute or is just a bad apple and just wants to prove himself. That one needs to get weeded out, and that's the wrong style of job for him. If he's not ready to have a high stress environment, he maybe need to go look for a different profession. But yes, if while you're staying there, you get caught sleeping with the boss, well, presidents can do it. I mean, why can't the cops do
it? You know, Zane, I'm gonna. This might be a thing, a touchy subject, but the most, you know, how they always say, you know, this many vehicle accidents kill this many people a year, smoking kills this many people a year. You know, there's a hidden thing about that. Technically, medical malpractice is literally at the top of the charts for deaths per year. If you dig into this, you will find this information. It will blow your mind, which then begs, it's a scary thought when you go see a doctor. So if you have a doctor that you see, hopefully it's someone that you trust and that you've researched thoroughly. Just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, there's the malpractice is huge, and they get, you know, doctors, they work together. They will protect their own. That's a bad thing.
And you guys know what everything comes down to is money. Everything comes down to that. And everywhere you look, it's all about money.
Big pharma, all about the money. They pay the doctors to sell the drugs to keep you sick. You know, a perfect example. Okay, here's a perfect thing for your talking about doctors and wrong diagnosis. So I went into the doctor. I was having chest pains, and this one doctor told me you have anxiety, so they were going to give me some anxiety meds. And right away, I'm like, it ain't going to happen. There's something else going on here. So I wait a couple more days, and finally I get a chance to go see my doctor. And he was a happy-go-lucky. If you understand you ever see one of them weeble wobbles? That's what my doctor looked like. He was just like a pear. Anyway, little short guy. And he said, "What's going on, Mark?" I said, "I got some chest pains and I can't seem to get rid of it." And so he says, "Well, let's go take an x-ray." So he took an x-ray. He'd come running out of that room, which I never saw him do. He told me to do a move. And I hear him on the phone calling an ambulance for pneumothorax. Well, if you know what a pneumothorax is, that's a collapsed lung. So I went from having anxiety issues to a full-blown collapsed lung and getting rushed to the hospital. All right. And I told him, I said, "They said I had anxiety." He says, "No." So I get up there. The doctor that was supposed to do the emergency surgery wasn't there, but his assistant was, and he cut me in the wrong spot. No drugs, no nothing, just slice. And he saw when the doctor showed up, he saw I was not a happy camper. And he said, "Mark, you're not going to remember a thing." That was the first time I got meds. So in that instances, there's 3 different doctors. 2 of them, one was assistant, one was an ER doctor, made a mistake. That could have cost me my life. Nothing was done about it. It was all under and when I went back to my doctor and I said, "Hey, what should I do here?" Flat out told me there's nothing I can do. So that's one of the reasons why I hate going to the hospital. Because number one, hospital is not a hospital, it's a corporation. And if you look under the definition of a corporation, Grey just said it 2 minutes ago. It's all about this. Now, if you look what happened in this last year, people stopped going to the hospital. What did our fine establishment do? They said, "Hey, we will give you X amount of dollars if you say that it is this." because they had to make up that income that they lost.
Yeah. All right. Do we have anything else, Mark? We're at an hour and a half.
No, I got a lot, but I'll say
I hear you. Well, we need content for other Tuesdays. You know what I mean? For you folks don't know, next week we will be on Mark's channel at this time. We're bouncing back and forth. Kind of if you guys have watched Ghost and Backwoods, what they're kind of doing as well. A lot of channels are kind of doing something like this with someone who they work well with, doing like a collab kind of thing like that.
I'll put my link in there, guys. We will be next week, 10 a.m. Central Time. We'll be on my channel, and there's a link in there. You guys can go and click on that. But this is like Grey was saying. Me and Grey work really good together. I do the homesteading kind of things and edibles, and he tells you the bad prepping and what's going on in the world. I kind of feed him that too. But there is a lot of information, and if you guys can't help me out, YouTube is trying to shut me down and stifle me. They don't want this stuff getting out. And I don't know why. I never did nothing to them.
Yep.
Yep, absolutely, Dragon. And I won't, everybody asks me, why don't you go to the VA? Why don't you go to the VA? After all the stuff that I heard, that, lines of people dying, VA hospitals where they're malpractice suits and people are, they're drugging them up, and I will never step into a VA hospital.
Oh, Josh.
What's lives matter.
So next week we'll be on Mark's channel. We're trying to find a couple of topics to talk about, each week, current events and also throwing, stuff like about gardening and stuff like that. It's a multifaceted show for you folks. So if you can, go ahead and support Mark if you haven't already. And I know, like I said, I like to remind folks, I will be going live again. This is a double header for me today at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My guest will be Van Life with Gina. Should be a great show. Other than that, hopefully, folks, everyone in chat has smashed that like button, which is truly appreciated, and shared this out. You know what I mean? So I want to thank everybody. We're done, Mark, right? All right. I want to thank everybody who had joined us this morning. Truly appreciate you guys spending some time with me and Mark. Look forward to seeing us next Tuesday morning as well. I truly appreciate that. Dragon, thanks for sneaking that last super chat in there. Lives matter, eat meat. Appreciate that, Dragon. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And I want to say thank you to all the mods in chat who have helped me moderate this chat. And thanks to everyone who has used the super chat option. And you will be in the drawing for the super chat of the month giveaway, which will runs every month. And every month I do a giveaway for the super chatters and the super stickers. I added that in my thing because super stickers count as well. But other than that, everybody, I hope you guys have a phenomenal afternoon. And I will see hopefully a lot of you folks this evening. I think that's about it. You have anything coming up, Mark?
Yeah, I got more work, but I hopefully will be. I'm thinking about I got to get Grey on there, but Sunday night at these 10 hours, like I said, we'll see what happens. If they do the 410s, I'll be switching my days to the morning because I usually go live on Mondays and Fridays at 10 p or 10:30 p.m. Well, with me working until midnight, that didn't work out so well. That's why you guys haven't seen me. I've been working way too much. So we'll have to switch some things out. I will be dropping some more videos in there. I just put out the guys, if you haven't seen it, the fermented cabbage. It's great for gut health and it's awesome for probiotics. It's a great source of getting your probiotics in, and it's healthy for your gut. That's another one that YouTube has tried to stifle. So go and check that out, and I will be putting out videos here with all the gardening stuff. I got a lot of stuff coming up and doing. So that's about it, Grey.
All right. Sounds good, man. Like I said, like everybody said in chat, have a blessed day. I'm going to drop my new outro. I'll probably be using it on my lives now on, but because I can't figure out how to do the other one, but I will be dropping this outro. Everybody have a great day. Hopefully I'll see you again tonight, and take care.
Take care, guys. Yep.